Jets named 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh their new head coach, making him the fourth minority head coach currently in the league. So, Shannon, which do you think is the better hire?
Well, Urban is the better hire, Skip. He's been a head coach. He's been a very successful head coach. I don't know Urban Meyer, but from what I hear, he's very CEO-like. He delegates the authority, and he makes sure everybody's where they're supposed to be and is done how it's supposed to be done. So that's what you have to do. Because I think the thing is sometimes, Skip, when you see these OCs or you see DCs get head jobs, well, he was great as an offensive coordinator. He was great, but that's only one side of the ball. You're responsible for offense, defense, and special teams. You're responsible for when they travel, when they meet, when they practice, when they do this. So Urban has done that for the better part of his adult life.
Yep.
So he's equipped. I'm not saying Robert Saleh can't learn these things, and I'm sure, being around Kyle Shanahan and see how he conducts business, but I think Urban, because Urban has been there, done that, he's had success. I believe he's going to a great situation, the #1 pick, almost $100 million in cap space, and he has some quality young players. The only concern is his health. He's left two jobs early and cited health reasons as the reasons why he's leaving. Now, if you think the college was stressful, this thing about to get turned up a whole different level, Skip. Because Urban, when he was at Florida, Skip, 95% of the time, other than against Alabama, he had the most talent on the field. When he's at Ohio State, 98% of the time, other than when he's facing Alabama, he had the most talent on the field.
Agreed.
He going to Jacksonville, probably 25% of the time, he's going to have the best talent on the field. So,
if that, to start with.
If that, Skip. So those are my only concerns, but I think Urban was the better hire. The just question is, can he sustain it?
Okay. Full disclosure, I do know Urban. I like Urban. I believe in Urban as a leader and a CEO and a winner. So I'm obviously going to lean Urban here, even though there's a critical factor. He's only coached in college football.
Right.
But he has obviously been a head coach in college football and a supremely successful head coach. A master of the quick turnaround, because just to remind everybody, he started out at Bowling Green, and in his first year, they went from 2-9 to 8-3. Then he goes to Utah. First year, they went from 8-6 the previous year to 10-2. Florida, they'd been 7-5, and his first year, they go 9-3. Ohio State had been 6-7 the previous year, and they go 12-0. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's won national championships. He reminds me of Jimmy Johnson, whom I covered, obviously, another who works here at Fox. And I know Jimmy extremely well. His personality is very different than Urban's. It's more, Jimmy. He is literally a hurricane. But the point is, I believe they can both be successful in their ways.
Right.
And yet there's a long history of college football coaches who failed miserably in your league, the National Football League, starting with Nick Saban, Steve Spurrier, a guy I covered in San Francisco, Dennis Erickson, Greg Schiano, Bobby Petrino. We can just keep going on and on. The odds are actually against Urban succeeding.
Yes.
Even though I believe he will, and he didn't interview for any job because he said, I want that one.
Well, Skip, I think it's different now. You have to understand these guys are different. And I think the biggest difference is, Skip, you're dealing with 18, 20-year-olds. 18, 20-year-olds are trying to get to the NFL. These 22 and the 30-year-olds, they're already in the NFL. And they got wives. They got kids. They got mortgages. So you can't talk to them like you talk to a teenage kid.
Well, Jimmy did, but... after a while, you establish your ground rules, and if you live by them, and you have the dynamic personality to enforce them, Jimmy enforced
it. It was a different time because they're all, the old school coaches, all of them was like that. Coach Landry, all those guys, all the coaches were like that.
Maybe Jimmy came on the tail end of old school.
Yes, but now with your social media, Skip, and brand building and the way guys are, they're not going to let you talk to them sideways.
So here's always been my pet peeve about your sport, the National Football League. I'm all for hiring coordinators, but you made the point. How do you know?
You don't.
Like Robert Saleh, does he look the part? He looks great. Look at him. I mean, he's a stud. He played tight end at Northern Michigan. He looks like an ex-tight end who could still play tight end.
Right.
And he's fiery, emotional, wears all of his emotions on his sleeves on the sideline, so he looks and acts the part. Well, how do I know for sure? Because it's so weird when you say, well, you ran one side of the ball, but you didn't make any CEO decision.
No.
You didn't have to decide, are we going to punt or go for it?
Right.
The tone of the game, are you going to go this way or that way? You have to make such big picture decisions.
You didn't call timeouts. You didn't throw the challenge flag. And yeah, you met, but Kyle Shanahan set the meeting schedule, and you met with someone else set your meeting schedule. You're responsible for all that now.
When the star player had an off-the-field issue, you didn't really have to deal with it.
It wasn't your issue.
Exactly. Okay, so it's hard. Am I pulling for Robert Saleh? Sure I am. And yet he's going into a tough spot. His spot is way tougher than Urban's got the first pick in the draft, and guess who it is? It's a guy who's a generational talent that we all say is can't miss, right?
And Urban Meyer, I've heard Urban talk about this kid in such glowing regards. Trevor Lawrence. And people are like, well, what if he shocked everybody and took Justin Fields? I think that ain't happening.
Okay, I don't think it is either. I think he picked it because it's Trevor Lawrence. And they have 2 first-round picks, and they have 2 second-round picks, and they have the most cap space in the National Football League.
In the state of Florida with no state income tax.
And we've talked about it before, and I don't want to dwell on all there's still some talent left there. So it's not empty cupboard. And he just said, I'm not going to interview anywhere else. I'm going there. And that owner has a reputation, Shad Khan, of being maybe overly patient, which he's going to need to be a little bit patient because I don't think Urban's going to turn it around and go win the Super Bowl next year.
It might be, Skip, that might be a fixer-upper, but it's going to take you a little longer. That's not a flip project that you fix it up in a year and you're ready to sell it. It's going to take you a couple of years to get this thing up and running.
So Robert Saleh, again, could he be the next great head coach? He could be, but how do you know for sure? Because I look back at everybody says he's a Pete Carroll chip off the old block. Well, he was there with 3 years for Pete, and guess what his job was? He was quality control up to 2013 for 11, 12, and 13. You know what quality control is?
Yeah, I do.
You're just kind of a gopher. I mean, you're doing film room stuff.
Okay? You passing out the game plan.
You're not even coaching a position until he went to the Jags because Gus Bradley took him to the Jags, from Seattle, obviously, and then Kyle Shanahan finally said, I want you, and brought him to San Francisco as the DC, the defensive coordinator. Okay, well, last year they were injury-racked, obviously, but they didn't have a great year. They gave up 41 at Dallas. You remember, they gave up. But
the year before he got to the Super Bowl, Skip, and they play hard. They're very sound. Richard Sherman speaks in glowing terms of, but Sherman knew him from Seattle.
He says he's a great hire. Okay. But look at his defenses. They ranked 25th his first year, 28th his second year, 8th in the Super Bowl year, and then back to 17th this year. Injury.
I just want to know one thing. Is there Benjamin going to get a job?
Good question.
I mean, we appreciate Saleh, and he's a brown guy. He's a minority. Okay, but I just want to know, is EB going to get a job?
I hope so.
Because
now there are reports that Arthur Smith will get the Falcons
job. Because Skip, what we hear is that, well, he didn't call the plays. Doug Peterson got a job and didn't call plays.
That's true.
Matt Nagy got a job and didn't call plays.
Bingo.
There are a lot of guys that have gotten jobs that did not call plays, that they didn't use that against them.
Good point.
Well, he definitely needs plenty of interviews. But just quickly before we wrap this up, I've been around Urban, obviously, plenty the last couple of years covering college football, interviewing him, and then as a teammate, over these last couple of years. And I sent a little note to Urban yesterday and his wife, Shelly, and she said the hardest part about this will be leaving the Fox family. So I know they will be missed around here. It's been a pleasure working with Urban, and we're all going to be rooting for him, guys. So
Aaron Rodgers' coach didn't call plays. Sean McVay called the plays.
Come on, Shannon.
Congratulations, Urban.
Throwing it in. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate that, and I agree that he needs to get plenty of interviews. Guys,